Okay, namaste everyone. We'll start with today's program of Global Yoga Festival. I'm Dr. Vikas Sote, and along with us we have Nishigandha ji. The idea of Global Yoga Festival is India has completed 75 years of independence, and Swasti Yoga Center decided to celebrate this 75th year of independence year-long by having different activities and sessions related with yoga, Ayurveda, and lifestyle every weekend on Saturday and Sunday. In regards to these activities, now we have crossed more than 65 sessions and nearing towards 75th session. In this regard, today we have a very eminent speaker and IT professional, one of our alumni, who is also YCP yoga teacher and evaluator with us, and would be sharing more light on the topic Yoga in Mandukya Upanishad. So I welcome Nishigandha ji.
Thank you, sir.
And we are very proud to have you here. It's a homecoming for all of us, and we are very glad to see you back again. Yeah? So yes, over to you, Nishigandha ji, for the topic Yoga in Mandukya Upanishad. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'll share my screen. Let me know if my screen is visible.
Yeah, you're visible and audible too.
Okay. So, namaste everyone. Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful introduction and such a warm welcome in here. So today at Swasti Yoga Center's Global Yoga Festival, I am here with the topic Yoga in Mandukya Upanishad. So, reason for choosing this topic, since childhood, in history books, from elders, we have been hearing Vedas, Upanishads. They are literally worshipped in India. So I was always intrigued with and I never imagined reading one of the Upanishad or Veda. So when I joined like YCP teacher training courses, we learned Patanjali Yoga Sutras in detail. We learned Hatha Yoga in detail, and Upanishad and Vedas were just briefly given in the textbook, right? So I decided one day to just give it a try to read one of the Upanishad. And Upanishad is not just a book, which you read one time and then you let it go. You have to read it. It's a book. It's a guidebook. You have to read it again and again. And each time you read it, you get a new experience in itself. You go more deep into the meaning of the Upanishad. So I would say, yes, there is content in Upanishad. There are verses which are giving us some knowledge, but reading Upanishad is an experience in itself. It's like reading Upanishad, it's like meditation. It is difficult to understand, but equally, it is the experience of reading this Upanishad is mesmerizing. Okay, so here I am today to share this experience as well as the content of Upanishad. So, yes. So before jumping to Mandukya Upanishad, let's understand yoga. Let's understand what is Upanishad. And then in continuation with that, we will go to Mandukya Upanishad. So what is yoga? So yoga is derived from the root word yuj. This yuj means union. Union of what? Individual self to universal self. Jivatma to Paramatma. By this, I mean attaining liberation, knowing the ultimate reality of the life. What is Upanishad? So literally, Upanishad means Upa means nearby, Ni means devotedly, Shad means sitting psychologically or physically near Guru and learning, gaining the knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of your real self. It is said that when you get the knowledge of your real self, you attain liberation. So this Vedas and Upanishads are all about that. So Upanishads are most important part of Vedas. They are the part of Vedas. So there are 4 major Vedas: Atharva Ved, Sama Ved, Yajur Ved, Rig Ved. So each Veda has the end portion, the end part, and that end part is Upanishad. It is the summary of all the Vedas. Right. So In Hindi or in Indian languages, the end part is called as Anta. Ved ka Anta, the end portion of Vedas. That's why it is called as Vedanta. Right? Vedas, Ved word comes from Vid, that means knowledge. Knowledge of what? Again, your real self. So ultimately, all Upanishads and Vedas go round and come to one point only: your real self attaining liberation. So each Upanishad has its own way of telling, it has its own pathway to go to the liberation. Right? We know various paths of yoga. There is Bhakti Yoga, there is Karma Yoga, there is Jnana Yoga. Most of the Upanishads follow Jnana Yoga. But is it so that Upanishad is telling only to follow only one pathway, Jnana Yoga? No, it's not like that. Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga are also equally important. With Karma Yoga, you get purified mind. With purified mind, when you do Bhakti, you get concentrated mind. And with a concentrated mind, when you attain knowledge, your mind becomes enlightened. You get enlightened mind. So these are the steps. So Upanishad is primarily telling to go to Jnana Yoga, but equally Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga are also important. So this is about generally about Upanishads. So let's jump on to Mandukya Upanishad. So Mandukya Upanishad, some facts about Mandukya Upanishad. It is smallest of all Upanishads, but it is the most meaningful, most powerful of all the Upanishads. It is very small. It is like only 12 verses, but in 12 verses, it has explained the whole universe. And when you read it, it's really a great experience. So we will jump on the verses also. We will to learn today Mandukya Upanishad in a bit detail. I will try to explain. So it is said that it is the gist of all Upanishads. Mandukyam ekam eva alam mumukshunam vimuktaye. For the one who want liberation from the life, for them this Mandukya Upanishad, only one Upanishad is enough. If you are able to understand Mandukya Upanishad, no need to read another 107 Upanishads. So by one Upanishad, it's done. But it's not so easy. If it was easy, there might be many enlightened beings around us. But yes. So this Upanishad has given that much of importance. So as I was telling, Upanishads is end part of Vedas. This Upanishad is end part of Atharva Veda. So the word Mandukya comes from Manduka. Its literal meaning is a frog. Some texts say that a frog silently sitting in the meditation, it is the representation of the word Mandukya. Some says that Mandukya is the son of Manduki. So there are various meanings interpreted. But yes, so one more meaning is it takes 4 leaps of a frog to get to self or liberation. So what are the 4 leaps? We will discuss in detail. So this Mandukya Upanishad comes under Advaita Vedanta. So in various texts, individual soul and universal soul has many meanings. Okay, some call them Prakriti Purush, some call them Brahman Atman, so some call them Jivatma Paramatma. In Upanishad, the general term is used as Brahman and Atman, meaning Brahman meaning the universal soul and Atman meaning the individual soul. So what Advaita Vedanta philosophy tells, that this Atman and this Brahman is one and the same. It is not different. Whereas if there are other philosophies like Dvaita Vedanta, where they consider Atman and Brahman, they are separate. So while learning Mandukya Upanishad today, we will remember the fact that here Atman and Brahman are same. Okay. So as I mentioned before, Mandukya Upanishad, the path given here is Jnana Yoga. Okay, Jnana about what? Universe. And about yourself also. It is one and the same because it is Advaita Vedanta. So here in Mandukya Upanishad, they have explained the meaning of symbol Omkar. It's also investigating our ordinary experiences, and through our ordinary experiences, it is taking to a mystical experience. So what is ordinary experience and what is mystical experience? Ordinary experience is the things we generally, waking, sleeping, doing activities, daily activities. These are our ordinary experiences of the world. What is mystic experience? Seeing God, experiencing Brahman. These are the mystical experience. For example, Arjuna sees Virat Roop of Krishna. That is mystical experience. Okay, so people rarely get this experience, but it is about Omkar, and it is about experience. That experience can be ordinary or mystic. Okay, so this was an introduction to Mandukya Upanishad. So let's take an overview with a so I said Mandukya Upanishad is very short Upanishad. It can be literally fit into one slide. So this is all Mandukya Upanishad. Yeah, we'll be going through the verses, but just explaining the Mandukya Upanishad here. So to one column, I have written sound, A, U, M, and the silence. So this sound we are all familiar with, Omkar. So when Omkar is divided into parts, it becomes A, U, M. So A, U, Ma, or M. Okay, it is M. So, but in order to say, we say Ma. And after chanting Omkar, you must be feeling some silence, some vibrations in you. Okay, so that is silence after chanting Omkar. And on the other side, I have written our experiences. Earlier, I was talking about ordinary experiences and mystical experiences. So our experience, so we are either in a waking state, either we are dreaming, or we are in deep sleep, or we are, okay, let's keep that state aside. So the first three are ordinary experiences, okay? But the fourth one is the mystical experience, okay? It is the infinite state where you are liberated and you feel the pure consciousness. So Brahman, or the individual Atman, is also called as pure consciousness, where you experience pure consciousness, that is infinite state, okay? Jagrut avastha, waking state is called as Jagrut avastha. Dreaming state is called as Swapna avastha. Deep sleep is called as Sushupti avastha. Infinite state is called as Turiya avastha. Okay, so yes, so this is our experience. So these are the four experiences told, but in reality, these are not four, these are three experiences. So so these three experiences are because of pure consciousness. There is pure consciousness, and we see, we have heard that there is manifestation of Brahman is Prakriti, right? So waking state, dreaming state, and deep sleep are the manifestation of this pure consciousness. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Okay, so there are ornaments, gold ornaments. So there is necklace, so there is bracelet, there is a ring. So what is common in all three ornaments? Gold, right? So when it comes to a particular form, it becomes a necklace. Gold, when comes to a particular form, it becomes a ring. So when you mold the necklace into the ring, so it is changing its form. Gold is not changing. So pure consciousness is not changing. Our forms are changing. So I am Nishigandha. It is my form. I have taken this birth. This is my form. But my pure consciousness is constant. So that's how. One more example I'll give. Water. When you pour it in the glass, where you pour it into the vessel or any pot, it takes the form, it takes the shape of the pot. But if I say I want to drink water, you have to pour it in the glass, right? If you want to wear a necklace, then you have to mold it in that form, right? So to experience pure consciousness, the manifestation is necessary. Okay, so it's that way. Okay, so what Upanishad here is telling, it is telling, it is pointing out. So this pure consciousness, it says that it is always there with us. Just we don't realize it. We realize our waking state, we realize our dreaming state, we realize our deep sleep state, but we don't realize pure consciousness. So for just one more example, you go to a website, you see a beach, photo of a beach, and below it is written Maldives. It is such a beautiful beach, and below the description is written all that, where to go, how to book it. So you like it, and you actually go there. Okay, so Mandukya Upanishad is like that website, showing that this is pure consciousness, this is what you experience, and all the stuff. So, but is it simple that we read Upanishad and we attain liberation? No, right? So what is the essence here? So how you understand from a website that this is a beautiful place to visit? There is a preparation, right? You understand English, you know how to visit a website, you know how to use the computer, you know how to read the map. So your mind is prepared to read that website. So in order to attain this experience, it is very important to prepare your mind and body for that experience. When you prepare your mind and body for the experience, you will understand that that was always there with me. Okay, so this is Mandukya Upanishad all about. So it is the sound and the experience. It is correlating it. So A is for waking experience, U is for dreaming state, M is for deep sleep, and silence is for infinite state or pure consciousness or turiya. Okay, so this is all about. So at the end, it is telling like you have to chant Omkar by keeping this meaning into the mind, and then train your mind for the meditation to attain liberation. Okay, so this is the summary of Mandukya Upanishad. I hope you guys understand it, right? Okay, so let's go to actual verses. So first two verses is talking about Omkar. Omkar is given importance in so many cultures, in Buddhism, in Jainism, in Sikhism, in so Om is like the most important word. Omkar, Satnam. Each mantra of Veda start with Omkar. It is given so much importance. Even Patanjali Yoga Sutra is talking about Omkar. It is calling Omkar as Pranav. What is Pranav? Pra and Nav. So pra is not and nava is new. So it is telling that Omkar is not new. So what does it mean? Does it mean that when Omkar is not new? It means that Omkar was there, is there, and will be there. It doesn't take birth or it doesn't die. It is always there. It is like the sound of universe. Okay, so it is telling imperishable word is the whole of this visible universe. Has become, what is becoming, and what will become. All of it is Om. And what is beyond time is also Omkar. Okay, so this is about the first verse. The second verse, it has a Mahavakya here. I am Atma Brahma. As I mentioned before, this is Advaita Vedanta philosophy. So your Atman is your Brahman. Your self is Brahman. Okay, there are many other Mahavakyas also. Aham Brahmasmi from Brihadaranyak Upanishad, Tattvam Asi from Chandogya Upanishad, Pragyanam Brahma from Maitreya Upanishad. So this is also one of the Mahavakya to be taken from this Upanishad. So self is Brahman. Okay, all of this is Brahman, and self is also Brahman. Okay, so this self has 4 quarters. So earlier I told that we have 4 kind of experiences. Okay, so it is stating that this self has 4 quarters. Now first verse was about Omkar, second verse is about self. Now Upanishad goes ahead and tell what is self, and then it comes again to Omkar. it explains the Omkar parts, and then it ends at the 12th verse. Okay. So these are the actual verses from Mandukya Upanishad. There are commentaries and karikas also. Shankaracharya, who propounded Advaita Vedanta philosophy, also written commentaries. Bhashya, his guru's guru Gaudapada also has written Mandukya Karika. So it also explains these verses in very detail. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. So yes, so these are the three ordinary experiences that that Mandukya Upanishad is telling. Okay, so let's start with the first one, waking state. So of course, the consciousness is outward turn. What is waking state? What do we experience in waking state? The outer world. No, we do our job. We are doing certain activities. We are interacting with the outer world. Right? We are taking in information. We are reacting to the outer world. So this is all about the waking state. Now it is written that it has 7 limbs and 19 mouths. Okay. So what does it mean? Who has 7 limbs and who has 19 mouths? Now just imagine it is Advaita Vedanta philosophy, right? So imagine that I have my own consciousness. Okay. So you have your own consciousness. So combine all the consciousness in the world, okay? Not only human beings, animals, the rocks, the earth, the universe, the sun, the moon. You combine all the consciousness together, it will be one consciousness, okay? So like we have our own body, have our own mind, have our own intellect. So that universal consciousness also has a body, and he is also experiences this waking state. Okay, so here just in small words I have written what are the 7 limbs. So I was earlier talking about Virat Purush, right, which Arjuna saw. That is nothing but Vaishvanara. So the consciousness of whole universe together in the waking state, it is called as Vaishvanara, and that was the Virat Purush which Arjuna saw. Okay, so it has heads are 7, heavens are his head, sun his eyes, air breath, fire his heart, water his stomach, and like this there are 7 limbs of the body of this Virat Purush, and 19 mouths. Like the 19 mouths means we take in something, right? So this waking world we are taking in by our sensory organs. I am looking at the waking world through our sensory organs. I am hearing the world through my ears. Sorry. You know, this information I am processing in my mind. I am making decisions based on that. I am reacting on based of my ego. I am reacting on the base of consciousness. That is chitta, subconsciousness, or the memory we have, antakarna. So that is it is. So that's the meaning of the 7 limbed and 19 mouth. It enjoys the gross objects. Now from waking state we go into dreaming state. Okay, so dreaming state is exactly the replica of waking state. But in here, our sensory organs are shut down. Okay, only our mind is active. So whatever the world is there, it is in our mind. Okay, I am there in my mind. You are there in my mind. Okay, so imagine the universe is dreaming. So what it will be called? Hiranyagarbha. Okay, we have heard Hiranyagarbha, right? So like waking state is called as, the universal waking state is called as Vaishvanara. The dreaming state of universe is called as Hiranyagarbha. Okay, and we are called as Taijasa. Okay, so in imagination also it has 7 limbs and 19 mouths. Okay, so it enjoys subtle objects. It is subtle. It is only in our mind. It is not reality. Okay, then the third one, the deep sleep. The deep sleep, this conscious mind the waking state and the dreaming state is completely shut down. Okay, imagine a seed. When you sow the seed, the stems come out and it bears fruit and the roots come out. Okay, but initially it is in the form of seed, right? It is in a compact form. So imagine this deep sleep as a compact form, wherein the waking state and dreaming state is not active. It is deactivated at the time. Okay, it is completely compacted. Your mind also is not. Your mind is shut down here. Okay, so that state we experience bliss. Okay, who experiences bliss? The consciousness experiences the bliss. But when we wake up again, we remember that we are in deep sleep. So this is not samadhi, it is deep sleep. Okay. So yes. So imagine that we are going from waking state, coming to dreaming state, coming into deep sleep, and then again dreaming state, and again the waking state. Okay. So something is coming in and something is going out from your deep sleep, right? So if the universe is in deep sleep, it will called as Ishwara. Okay. So in all the cultures, they say that Ishwara is creator and destroyer of the universe, right? So this is how it is creating and destroying in itself. Okay. So this is one of the important state, you know. So it is in next verse, it is called as this is the beginning and the end of all the beings. So that is how, and that is what is the meaning of Ishwara. Very, very beautifully explained in Mandukya Upanishad. Okay. Then the fourth quarter, I was talking about pure consciousness. So this in many Upanishads and many texts, they say that it doesn't have language, it has no action, it is unknowing, it is neither knowing, and it is undescribable. Okay, so here are few words they're given, neither inward nor outward, not indifferentiated mass of consciousness, neither knowing or unknowing. It is just pure consciousness. Okay. So why this is Maya, you know? So why this pure consciousness is real and the other things are unreal, you know? Why do we suffer, you know, in our waking state or dreaming state? Okay? So suppose somebody says that you are bad. Okay, you are bad means who? My form is bad. No? So for example, I was talking about the necklace. So it is saying that necklace is bad, not the gold. Okay, so the form is bad, not the pure consciousness. So the suffering is because of that. And when you realize that you are Brahman, then the suffering goes away because you know what is the reality. Okay. So then the verse number 8 here, this diagram you might all have seen, you know, this is Omkar. So this first curve is representing unconscious state. Then your conscious state, you know, Jagruta Avastha. Then your Swapna Avastha. And this dot is your pure consciousness, where in between there is Maya, the illusion, which I was talking about just a minute before. So because of this Maya, you are not able to reach the infinite state. So as the diagram earlier I showed you in the slide, A represents waking state and that representation here is given. Just stating that this verse is the identical Atman or self in the realm of sound is the syllables Om, the above described four quarters of the self being identical with component of the syllable and the components of the syllable being. Okay, so it's just telling what is Omkar and how it is related to our experiences. The components of syllabus are A, U, M. So next 9, 10, 11 words. Okay. So now we talked about the four quarters of ourselves, right? Now we will talk about Omkar here in next 4 verses again. Even 12th is talking about the fourth silence. Okay. So 9, 10, 11. So first one is Vaishvanara, whose field is waking state, is the first sound. in waking state, it encompasses all the sounds. Okay, in the waking state, it is said that whatever sounds are there in waking state, we hear it. It is a. It is, if you combine all those sounds, it is a. Okay, in a dream state, the sound, it is represented by u. Okay, u. After a comes u, right? Oh, sorry, not a. A is in English. If you tell it in Sanskrit, it is actually a. Now, then it comes u, right? So after waking state, there comes dreaming state. Okay, and through that, when and u, so while saying ma, you close your mouth, right? You say, don't say ma, you say mm. So these two are accommodated or compacted in deep sleep, as I was talking earlier, right? So these waking state and dreaming state are compact in one deep sleep, and that and u, when you even pronounce it is ma, you just close your mouth and you compact in it yourself. Okay, so some results are promised in Upanishad. When you chant you get all the desirable objects in the material objects. Okay, when you recite you, in your lineage, there will always be some people who are not ignorant of Brahman. They will be the Brahman will be known to them. That is the result promised. And then in Prajna state is the deep sleep state. So thus he encompasses all the universe in himself. Okay, everything, it meaning that everything, every individual or every materialistic thing in this world will feel that it is you only. It encompasses all the universe in you. That the meditation on Mo. Okay, so these are the 3 syllables, and what happens when you chant these 3 of them. And after this Omkar, so a ma is O, and then ma. This is Omkar, and after this Omkar, you experience a silence. That is nothing but your Atman. That silence experience is nothing but your Atman. Okay, so what Upanishad is trying to say is, it is not just giving what is the universe, what is your experience, what is Omkar. It is also telling that chant Omkar, train your mind, train your body so that you can experience the self. Okay, so it is giving the practical yoga also. Okay, so in Upanishad or every yoga text, the aim of yoga is to attain liberation. But in our general life, we don't even know that we want liberation. I don't know if I want liberation. We are not that much advanced in our practice. Why a person joins yoga class? For physical well-being, for mental well-being, for emotional well-being, and some for spiritual well-being, right? So, but when you start practicing yoga, after a few months, you start experiences a kind of bliss, a different experience you get, which is not the physical and mental well-being. That experience, that it is so blissful that so many things which are there in front of you, which used to trouble before, now you don't feel they are troubling you. Small things. Some other things are there troubling you, but not those old things will trouble you. Your perspective of living changes. So if you are curious to know why this is happening, what is happening with me, not liberation, but a step towards liberation. Okay, you can think. So when you read this text, so you can relate to the feeling. Okay, that's what I want to say. So it might be, for some people, it might be absurd to hear, what liberation and what and everything. But yes, and this Upanishad is telling a very practical way of doing it, just Omkar chanting. So simple. It is exposition of mystic syllable in order to view Om with a view to training the mind in meditation for purpose of achieving freedom gradually, so that individual soul is attuned with ultimate reality. Maybe that experience of bliss that you get, you are attuning with Brahman slowly. Let's amplify that experience of yoga what we get, and keep reading these books and Upanishads. They are very inspiring, and yes, so we get spiritual, emotional, mental and physical well-being by reading these books. And yes, so we get a different perspective of when we read these texts, and we understand our experience more and more. Yes, on this note, I'll end the session, sir. If any questions or answers, please tell me. I think you're on mute, yes.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Nishigandha ji. And I think the thanks is not enough. I would request everyone to unmute themselves and give a big round of applause to Nishigandha.
Thank you.
Being with Nishigandha is always a pleasure. And today hearing her was really wonderful. Over these 2-3 years, I've seen her grow. When you normally see other people who are into IT industry, like today it's weekend. So yes, everybody has their own important course to do, important things to do. People want to go out and everything. But here you have Nishigandha has always been very much focused. She has always been on the path of Ek Tattva Abhyas. And as she was rightly talking about, it's not only the physical or the mental growth that she was always seeking, but it is this spiritual side of hers, which is very beautiful. And very few times you come across with youths who are inclined spiritually and balancing their own career and other walks of life. They equally give importance for their spiritual growth. So thank you very much, Nishigandha ji, for coming and joining with us and blessing us with the beautiful insights from Mandukya Upanishad. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
So if there are any questions and queries, we can take them. Otherwise, we will move ahead. Okay, so yeah. Tomorrow we have another interesting guest speaker, Sushma Kale ji from Mumbai, and she will be talking on the topic yoga in corporate IT world. What are the challenges and prospects for India at 75? Okay. Very interesting topic, and good expert in the field of both yoga, and she is very active in arranging different seminars, workshops, and connecting different institutions, right from IIT Powai to various other important premier institutions in Mumbai, where the work for yoga has begun in medical colleges and engineering colleges. This research on yoga is taken ahead by her. So I invite you all to join tomorrow at the same time. And thank you very much once again, Nishigandha ji. And we will end today's session with Shanti Mantra. So I request you all to make yourself comfortable.
So, sir, let's chant Omkar for more times today, since we were talking about Omkar.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
Let's
wonderful.
experience the silence.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, yeah, Nishigandha ji, want to take the Omkar chanting?
Sure. No problem.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe you can introduce the mountain Omkar technique for our other listeners.
We will chant the Omkar for 7 times, and then we'll go for Shanti Mantra.
Okay. Yeah. I will mute myself. You can take over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sit straight. Hands in Dhyana Mudra. Eyes closed. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Focus on yourself. One more time, inhale. And while exhaling, relax yourself. Let's begin with Omkar chanting. Inhale. Om. Inhale. 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 Inhale and exhale. You will notice that you have stopped chanting Omkar. The vibrations are still there in with you. Try to focus on the vibrations. Notice how those vibrations are taking us to blissful state. Inhale and exhale. One more time, inhale and exhale. Now slowly join your hands. Let's be grateful for all the things in our life. Bow down to Atman Brahman. Inhale and exhale. Let's chant the Shanti mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinameditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Shanti. Hari Om. Slowly rub your palms. Keep the palms on your eyes. Slowly open your eyes behind your palms and let the light seep in through your fingers slowly. And slowly open your eyes. Namaste. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Nishigandha ji. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Namaste. Have a wonderful weekend.